Hey, well, today's daily sprint. So, time to be a little bit vulnerable. So, I put a post up a while back as far as what people would like to see the top 3 mistakes in our marriage life, or the top 3 mistakes in our life, period. And I'm going to do both. Today's going to be the marriage life. Now, we actually have a podcast episode on this, so I would invite you to check out our Macro Millionaire podcast, and you can hear both Erica and I discuss this together. So it would be probably much more fun that way. So I'm going to go over the top 3 mistakes that I made or am making or made in the process of getting out of, whatever you want to say, in Erica and I's marriage right now. So number 1, and I wouldn't say these are in particular order. These are just the top 3 mistakes. Number 1, living in kind of like shame and not talking about desires, bedroom stuff desires. So again, this is between a marriage, my wife and I. But I just wouldn't put that stuff out there. It sounded weird. Sometimes I'll be like, hey, what about this? And she'd be like, well, is that what you would want? And she wasn't trying to make me feel like weird or nothing. I'd be like, no, and I always had this joke. It's like, okay, we're just gonna have this missionary Mary bedroom life. Sorry, I don't mean to get too deep, but these are our top 3 mistakes. But the second that I just started to be more genuine and authentic, and then we started to make good relationships with other married couples who had a rocking bedroom life, and just kind of got some stuff out on the table. And the guilt, not the guilt, but the shame just kind of went away. And now we can talk about these things. And sometimes it's weird. We're both raised pretty conservative. So some of these things are a little bit weird to put out there on the table. But it seems the more we do that, the more that particular part of our marriage is thriving. So really, really cool. But I waited many, many years before I really was true to myself and saying, hey, this is what I desire. And then for her to say the same and so forth. So that would be the biggest mistake. Just not being authentic as far as what I would like to do in the area of lovemaking. Number 2, not seeing the big picture. So Erica got into a MLM business. It's an amazing company, LifeVantage. Love it. Great culture, great people. And at first, I didn't quite understand why she was doing this. Obviously you get into a business to make money. And we had another business that I felt could make a lot more money. So I would always peck at her and be like, why don't we go over here and put you over here and we can 10X over here. But I didn't look at the big picture of all the other things this culture gave her. That was a big mistake of mine because it created a little bit of resentfulness from her as far as why I kept trying to get her away from her passion. That's the big thing. Yes, do you get into business to make money? Absolutely. But she got into it for a much, much more than just to make money. She got into it for a better culture, a good culture, to be around growth-driven people, solidify friendships, all these other things. And I was just narrowly looking at one thing. And the business that I was trying to pull her into probably would not have given her those things, saying real estate or whatnot. So super important. That was mistake number 2, continuing to grow through all of these. And then number 3 would be getting into the marriage as an alliance instead of a fusion. So it's okay, she's good at this, she can do these tasks, I'm good at this, I can do these tasks, and together we'll take over the world. That is more of an alliance type marriage where it should be, hey, you're your own person with good and bad things. I'm my own person with good and bad things. And as we become one flesh, we create this. So that's something that we're still working on. What are we going to create? We lead a small group together, which is really cool. We create this group. So the group is not able to exist without that one flesh. So that's probably going to be something we're going to continue to grow and try to find out. All 3 of these things, yes, I call them mistakes, but all 3 of these things are things that we're growing through. So, hey, love to know if any of these 3 resonate with you in your relationships or married life. Love your honest comments down below. You guys have a great growth-driven rest of your week.